Peek-a-boo. Peek-a-boo. You. You're never going to be enough. I'm telling you. You're never going to be enough. Because enoughness isn't measured. You can't measure it. You can't measure it. You can't say this is enough or that's not enough. Okay, maybe for food. Maybe you're eating and you're like, okay, this is enough food. I've eaten enough. But your inherent worthiness, who you are, being good enough, there's nothing to measure. So you'll never be enough. Therefore, you are free. Hi, I'm Tiana Megan. Welcome. And you can follow me on Only My Own Validation on Instagram, and I post quotes and I talk about being and receiving and just existing in the best ways for us in accordance to who we already are, not looking for the outside to validate us and not looking for anything outside of who we claim ourselves to be. But essentially this video and the point of it is that I was walking down the street, and these always come after like hits of inspiration, right? I'll write down the wording that came in my head, and then I'll just be like, okay, I'll film this later. But essentially, I don't watch football, but I have this shirt and I think it's cute. Essentially, I was walking down the street and I was just like, okay, how I am, or what I have, what I do, who I am, all of these things that define me or that I think define me. Well, I know that I, as we all do, want to please my primary caregivers. I like to call them like that, so we can detach from the whole understanding and meaning of what those people are to us in our dynamics with them. But we all have a primary caregiver. That might have been an aunt, that might have been a social worker to you if you lived with, I don't know if you lived with a social worker. If you were in an orphanage, it would be whoever was there. It would be your grandma, your mom, your dad. It would be, if you grew up with your friend's family instead of your family, and they took you under their wing and you lived with them all the time. Or you lived with them all the time, but you still feel like your primary caregiver was the mom who abandoned you, and whatever that is to you, if you're still living your life hoping to please them or get their approval for who you are, and if you're in a lot of contact with them, great. If you're not in a lot of contact with them, great. Whichever, it doesn't matter. It's about you and your psyche. I personally still want to please them, just whether I'm talking to them or not, because I have this inherent need for those primary caregivers to tell me that I'm good enough the way that I am and that I'm worthy. And they might have told me in different ways. They probably have. Yeah. Maybe sometimes those primary caregivers tell us in more performative ways or superficial ways that don't land. But most of us, anyways, didn't necessarily feel the entire stamp of good enoughness and worthiness and approval in general. No matter if they showered you with gifts and celebrated you or completely neglected you and abandoned you, there's often a part of us that is still just hoping and wanting that from them, right? And I'm here to say that I was walking down the street and I was literally thinking, I don't think that anything I do or however I perform in life will ever be enough, unfortunately. And that's vulnerable for me to say, but I say it because it's authentic to me. I felt it over and over again. At this age, I felt it multiple times with those primary caregivers. And this is not a video to blame them, but it is a video to illustrate that if you spend your life wanting that from those people and not giving yourself the wake-up call that it'll probably never be enough to get that thing that you want so much, which is the you're good enough, you're worthy, you're all of this, you're gonna spend your life probably doing things you don't even want to do, thinking this is it, this is the thing, this one here, that one, oh, this one, yeah, that one is gonna, that's the one. After this, then I'm for sure gonna be good enough for them, And it's like, it may hurt to look within and admit that you might not ever get that. And that no matter what you do, no matter what accolades you get or whatever achievements, you know, you could have an Oscar, you can, you know, win the Nobel Prize. What is the Nobel Prize? I've heard that word my whole life, but is it like for humanitarian things? I don't even know. And all of it might just never and probably won't be enough. So the reason I'm making this video is that when I was walking down the street and I realized, you know, it's never going to be enough. Like, I felt freedom, like immense freedom, for one of the first times, or one of the more apparent first times. Like, I felt it before, but like that one felt like, oh, therefore I'm free. Okay, therefore what am I going to do about it? Now with that, you have all of the choice in the world, because then you realize you could be scrubbing floors, or you could be, you know, on the next NASA rocket ship out. And either way, they probably, and I'm talking primary caregiver, I'm just saying primary attachment, that idea that you made within yourself that, you know, you need outside source of approval, won't feel like enough. Like, you could literally be the president and your parent can still be like, Have you guys watched The Morning Show? I don't know. I've been watching The Morning Show on Apple Plus, at TV Plus, and Alex Levy, like the main character that Jennifer Aniston plays, really reminds me of like that feeling of like, okay, like she's out there doing amazing, and then her relationship with her dad, he's still just like always disappointed in her, and he's always just like, oh, of course you couldn't even get like the best story on air or something like this. And it's like, this woman's like a multi-millionaire. She's working on The Morning Show in this TV show, and she's still not going to be good enough for you. Well, that's a problem with you. But ultimately, I pull that into this video because I'm trying to illustrate that whether you had great parents that were, you know, taking care of you a lot, or coddled you, or didn't, or were absent, or were aloof, or, you know, just unavailable in the ways that you needed, tell yourself, sit with yourself truly, and ask yourself, will anything I do like ever be enough for them or for me to feel like, even if they told me, no, we're really proud of you, and, you know, I've had that, like they've told me it, but it doesn't mean that I felt it, right? Because of other things and other dynamics at play. But essentially, let's say you take your own situation and you really go, okay, the people that raised me, or even if you're thinking of high school bullies, like you're thinking, I want them to really get that I made it or something like that. Think about it. Will they ever tell you it? And if they do, will it land? And if it lands, will that be enough for you? And if it's enough for you, after that, will you allow yourself the freedom to then just choose and do whatever you want to do without the expectations on you that you need to be doing more, or that you should be at a different place in your life, or that you should be on a different path? What is the path? Tell me the way, please, because I haven't found it. A girl I was watching sing at a little coffee shop in Toronto. Oh my gosh. I'm going to reach out to her later. She was just, these lyrics she made were so sweet, and they included like, give me the manual. And I was sobbing when I heard her sing it for the first time, and she was just singing it in a coffee shop, and she wrote that song herself. But it was like, give me the manual. Like, I don't know like what the path is that will lead to the best outcome, or that I'm supposed to be on. So instead, if you let that go, you can really allow yourself to accept that there is none. There's no manual. There is no right. There's no wrong. There is just being and doing and having and expressing and experiencing, and then we all pass away. And I say that in a lot of my videos because I remind people that this life is precious and short, and it hurts at times a lot, but it also feels amazing a lot, and you are worthy of creating your own path and just walking on it one step at a time. I hope you enjoyed this video. My name is Tiana Maighan. Follow me on Only My Own Validation on Instagram, and find me on TikTok under my full name, Tiana Maighan. I'll see you soon.